Alright guys, welcome back to another one. Today I wanted to talk about something that could potentially be some pretty good news for both Kingdom Hearts as well as Nier. So last week, Square Enix unveiled actually two brand new 2D HD games. We've got The Adventures of Elliot, which by the way, looks fantastic. A 2D HD action RPG, totally new original IP. Very cool stuff, but on top of that, Octopath Traveler 0. As a side note, I have to say I'm pretty excited for this. Octopath Traveler is one of the very, very few turn-based games that I actually enjoy. I believe these two titles are absolutely incredible, and that is rare coming from someone that just doesn't generally enjoy turn-based games. So personally, I'm really excited for this. It's a prequel to Octopath Traveler. I mean, it's got the 0 in there, pretty self-explanatory. Interestingly though, this could be considered to be almost a remake or console version of the mobile entry of Octopath known as Champions of the Continent. Now, it's not a fully fledged remake per se, but more so the story that Octopath Traveler 0 is going to tell is more of a reconstruction of that story that's told in Champions of the Continent. Now, Square Enix have confirmed that the story in 0 is going to have some key differences compared to the mobile game. Along with that, some new systems and features. There is a town building mechanic in this, which, sign me up, hell yes! Basically, Square have confirmed that these two games are basically sibling counterparts to one another. But what Square Enix are doing right here is they're taking one of their mobile titles and giving it the full-fledged video game console treatment. This is something that both Nier and Kingdom Hearts fans have been absolutely begging for when looking at Kingdom Hearts Union Cross and Nier Reincarnation. Two games that are in desperate need of some form of a remake, given that right now, looking at both of these titles, they are totally inaccessible. They have been completely removed off of all app storefronts. This tells me that at least looking at the Square Enix higher-ups, they're totally okay with Square Enix pursuing this idea of taking some of their mobile titles and turning them into console entries. Keeping in mind too that it's not like Octopath Traveler is wildly popular. Sure, the series itself has sold over 5 million units across both the first and second game. Those are impressive figures, don't get me wrong, but they're not quite at the same level of Final Fantasy or Kingdom Hearts. So clearly, Team Asano feel the strong need to retell the story that the mobile game is trying to tell for the overarching story of the Octopath Traveler series. And of course, that sounds very familiar, doesn't it, when looking at Nier and Kingdom Hearts. So starting off with Nier Reincarnation, which ended service in April of last year, is officially considered to be Nier 3. The various story chapters within that mobile title are important to the long-running story across both Automata and Replicant, and will no doubt serve to be important for the future of the Nier games. Kingdom Hearts Union Cross acts as an origin story to the long-spanning Kingdom Hearts series. Dare I even say, some of the most important, most pivotal story events occur within that story. And a large portion of that plot is going to be vital in order to understanding this next coming saga of Kingdom Hearts, beginning with Kingdom Hearts 4. The fact that we're in a position now where two incredibly important games to the respective stories of those franchises are no longer accessible, and the only means of being able to consume and understand that story is via YouTube cutscenes, is simply put, clinical insanity. Both Union Cross and Reincarnation are currently in a position right now where their stories are in desperate need of being retold and made more readily accessible. With seeing the recent Octopath Traveler being a thing, retelling certain events of the mobile counterpart to Octopath is a really good sign that Square Enix might potentially consider to give both Nier and Kingdom Hearts the exact same treatment. It's funny though, because Kingdom Hearts actually has two mobile games that are in need of a retelling, not just Union Cross, but also the recently cancelled Missing Link. From the small handful of story information that we got of Missing Link through the beta and some leaks, the story that game was going to eventually tell was going to be wildly important to the series. I do have a feeling that some of that important information will be integrated into Kingdom Hearts 4's story, but given the type of story that Missing Link was trying to tell, I still feel like it deserves its chance to be its own subtitled entry, turned into a proper video game that can be accessed whenever and however, not relying on a connection to a server in order to access its contents. Maybe Square might look at doing one package that contains a compilation of all of the key saga stories, looking at Union Cross, Missing Link, and Dark Road. I don't know, I think I'm just craving the Kingdom Hearts franchise going back and doing the subtitled entries. It feels like the Kingdom Hearts franchise has been relatively quiet over the past decade, mainly because it's been so focused on remasters. Crazy to think that outside of the mobile games and 0.2, which is like a tech demo, back cover being a movie, we've only received one subtitled entry. And even then, that's a rhythm game, it's not a traditional title like Dream Drop Distance or Birth by Sleep. Now that it seems as if Square Enix are steering away from mobile Kingdom Hearts entries, I do hope that after Kingdom Hearts 4, we do get a couple of subtitled games before we get the next big mainline title. AA entries that are smaller budgets and take significantly less time to develop, because the current time frame that it's taking to develop a Kingdom Hearts game is kind of ludicrous. Still to this day, I find it really suspicious that Square Enix did in fact run an offline version of Union Cross for a couple of years there once the service ended for people that wanted to access the game's cutscenes, but mysteriously last year decided to remove that offline version. The only reason for this is it would suggest that Square Enix do in fact have future plans to remake this game into a proper video game. Either way though, seeing Octopath Traveler 0, I personally feel, is a good sign looking at some Square Enix mobile games that are in desperate need of a remake. I also want to say that this recent Nintendo Direct was very Square Enix coded. Some people liked that, some people hated that, take that as you will. But it actually showed us Square Enix does have games for 2025. Albeit we know that Square Enix are currently going through a complete restructure and a reboot phase right now, there are still video games coming out. I feel like this is important to reiterate, as a lot of people were under the impression that Square Enix would be dead quiet until 2027. 2025 is giving us Saga Frontier 2 Remastered, Dragon Quest 1 and 2, Final Fantasy Tactics, along with Octopath Traveler 0. It is definitely a quiet year, and it's more so leaning in the direction of classic legacy Square Enix for turn-based lovers. Not a bad thing. I feel like we've needed a big turn-based blowout for Square Enix for quite some time to cater towards that audience. It's crazy to think that some people are still saying that Square Enix no longer make turn-based games, and you've got Team Sano out here literally just carrying the entire turn-based legacy for the company. This year is nothing but turn-based titles coming from Square Enix. Oh, and yeah, we've also got our first 2026 title, The Adventures of Allium, which I'm personally ecstatic for. But rest assured, Square Enix are still releasing games throughout this quiet period. However, I'd love to know your opinion on this. Do you believe that one day we will eventually see a remake and retelling of Kingdom Hearts Unchained Key Union Cross and Nier Reincarnation? However guys, that's all from me today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to slap that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. A big thank you to my wonderful patrons and YouTube members. I hope you're all having a fantastic day, and we'll talk again real soon.